It's Dark Matter. We're Midwest Ghost Hunters at Pythian Castle again this week. Now, if you Google Pythian Castle, by the way, you're going to see there are a few of these peppered throughout the country. I don't know how many. The point I was going to make is, just being a Pythian Castle doesn't mean that it's haunted. I know there's one in Texas. I saw one in another state. I can't remember. They may be haunted.
Were they all like children's homes and everything originally? Or?
I have no idea. But I know if you Google Pythian Castle, I was looking up. I was trying to find a picture of something inside. I can't remember what I was even looking for, but it brought up all these pictures. Like I was looking like I don't remember seeing any of these fucking rooms ever. And then I got to looking, and it was a Pythian Castle in Texas. So there's a few, but this one in particular here in Missouri has been known to be haunted for a long time. That's why we do the podcast here. Speaking of haunted sites, though, John, have you talked at all about your trip?
No, I haven't talked anything at all about going to Alcatraz, and I haven't talked about that at all.
Yeah, you should probably mention some of that, because that I mean, when you talk about regional sites, this is a very popular haunted regional site here in Springfield. But I mean, Alcatraz is that's people travel worldwide to go there.
We actually we went on vacation to San Francisco. We went to see Alcatraz. It's actually one of the primary things we went to the city to see. We saw that. We also saw the Golden Gate Bridge. But Alcatraz is probably one of the most famous prisons in the world. And we went to see the place, and they actually do tours there. We took the day tour, which is more the history tour, which is done by the Parks Department. They do night tours there. I don't know if that's also done by the Parks Department or if that's a privately run thing, but those tend to focus more on the paranormal side of things. If you go over and see Alcatraz, it has got a long paranormal history. It started off as a U.S. Army fort, and it's that point in time is when the paranormal claims begin at Alcatraz. What some of the early claims are from soldiers that would be on patrol. It would say that they would see figures walking around that they would describe as Revolutionary War type people that were in those sort of outfits. Some of them would say that the guys didn't have heads. They would come around and they would shoot these guys and nothing would happen. So that was the beginning of the claims for this. Then they began to do the construction to go ahead and build what was Alcatraz, and that was being done to be a fort. So they get in and they start building on this thing, and the more and more paranormal claims happen. They had a number of soldiers that kept seeing things. Some guys actually went mad because they said that they would see ghosts, they would see non-human things. They had a guy who I told Chris is kind of like if Tyler were a Civil War soldier, this is who this guy was. He was famous for saying that the ghost was all a bunch of BS. He believed solely in science and things like that and said, this is crap. I'm going to go to Alcatraz and do the patrol myself. The guy sets up in the hallway to do the patrols that night. The next morning they come in and his eyes are just huge and he's literally frozen. It wasn't 2 weeks until he talked. It took 2 weeks for him to finally talk again, and he said that they were not human. They were not human. Ended up in an asylum from that. Another guy had described an incident with something on the stairs that he looked up and he saw a headless guy at the top of the stairwell.
It's all the headless people.
I don't know. That's pretty common. There's some sort of there's something there without any heads. But on the flip side, the thing I had told Chris was one of the cool things that I got a chance to see while I was there. There was a guy by the name of William Barker.
Did he not have a head?
No, well, he had a head.
Oh,
William Barker had a head. He was in the gift shop there, and he was selling his books. He is one of the last living inmates of Alcatraz, and he's got a line in his book about paranormal activity. He says, everybody always says there's a ton of paranormal activity going on at Alcatraz. I will tell you, I never heard a thing the whole time I was there.
One of the big famous claims of Alcatraz was always banjo music from the shower.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They did not mention that. That's not on the Parks Department.
The reason that's probably famous is because there was only one person that was allowed to do that.
Allowed to do what?
To play his musical instrument in the shower. It was Al Capone.
He took a fucking banjo into the...
I'm amazed that they let him have any instruments there at all, because
he was the only inmate that was ever...
I can't believe they let him have instruments. I mean, motherfucker, you could take those strings off and
do lots of things.
Behead a bitch with it. Yeah. So I'm surprised they allowed him to have a musical instrument, period. I mean, some of these guys, they don't even let them have bed sheets. I don't know. I didn't know one thing about Alcatraz that John was talking about earlier. I guess I always assumed that the paranormal activity started as a residual result of the prisoners in the prison, but it actually had stuff happening there before.
Yeah, the Native Americans that were...
I don't know how to say the name of that tribe.
That owned the land, or that were in possession of it, or however you want to say that were in that area, they wouldn't build anything there because they said it was like a land of evil, that it was bad spirits. They actually sent a guy in at one point in time, and this was done by the U.S. Army. They sent a priest in there, and he was a exorcist. And the thing about it is, when you do some digging on this, you see that the U.S. Army was dealing with these paranormal claims, and they were burying it. That was their way of handling it, was just to bury it. So they sent this priest in to do an exorcism of the entire area. The priest ends up committing suicide and left behind a note saying that you can't exorcise something that doesn't want to be cleansed. It doesn't want to be. It enjoys being evil. Now, to me, I would think that everything enjoys being evil, and that would be. I'd
never heard that angle on exorcisms. Have you? That it'll only be a successful exorcism if the receiving end party, which is the demon or whatever,
wants to be
exorcised.
I've never heard that.
That's something I've never heard before.
But this is the guy.
That's probably why they never work.
Well, this is the guy who committed, and then this guy commits suicide. This guy that was there. They had also had a deal where they were doing some sort of construction there at Alcatraz in that area, and they found a tomb that had like a child or had an individual in the tomb, and so they didn't know what it was, so they just sealed it up and built everything around it. So I don't know, and you don't really know for sure on that. A lot of these things are stories. I will say though that after going and seeing Alcatraz, that is not that big an area. If you go to the Missouri State Penitentiary, which is one of the big famous prisons, certainly in the Midwest, if not in the country, one wing of the Missouri State Pen is the size of Alcatraz.
Well, it's known as the bloodiest 47 acres, right? I mean, that's pretty fucking big.
Yeah,
the pen is.
I always, hearing Alcatraz stories throughout my life, I always kind of picture this gigantic.
Yeah, and it's big. It is big. But if you go to see the Missouri State Pen, and then you also go to see Alcatraz,
you've been to.
Yeah, Missouri State Pen is dramatically bigger than Alcatraz, dramatically bigger. And the inmate that I got the book from, and I've read his story about it. You see that there's a lot of things about Alcatraz that really were, according to him, myths. He says, was it did you want to go to Alcatraz? Absolutely not. You didn't want to go there. But as far as it being dramatically worse than any other prison, he said, no, not really.
I had read somewhere that actually a lot of the inmates agreed that the food there was actually very good.
Yes, and that's what he said. He said that the reason why that they didn't have more problems, he actually credits the food because the warden believed, if I feed these people well and I take care of them and I respect these people, I won't have any problems from them as a whole.
There's a lot of wardens that kind of go that route, and it seems to kind of work.
It does. It certainly worked for them there, and he said that's why he didn't think there was a big problem.
There's a reason that World War II Marines got like a steak and lobster dinner the night before they're sent into a brutal massacre.
Yes,
it's for morale.
Was it for morale, or was it for, here's your possible last meal?
Could be both.
That's what I always thought. I don't know. I never knew Alcatraz was known for its cuisine.
As far as the prison side of things, it was far better. And they said that the problems that began at Alcatraz happened when a new warden came in who thought that was all BS. And that was really the only real riots and stuff like that they had at the prison is after they changed that. So... anyway, but that's it's a very interesting place to go see. If you ever get a chance, you're ever in the San Francisco area, it's definitely worth a tour. There's definitely some bizarre, weird things that happen there. I could also see where if you go to San Francisco right now, if you go there in the middle of the summer, you're going to need a sweatshirt because it gets down to the 50s.
So it's cold. When you took the ferry, did you go from the Fisherman's Wharf?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That place looks really cool.
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with paranormal, but that entire area is super cool because...
Did you happen to see one of the cables? They have this little thing where it shows one of the cables from the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
and how thick it is.
Yes.
And how giant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if you went there.
Yep.
too.
Yep. We went there and saw that. That's
I remember
super cool.
seeing that bridge swinging during that fucking earthquake.
Yeah.
It's built to do that.
Yeah, it is. It was swaying like that. Yeah, even the concrete's made
But
to expand.
they had one of the what they call victory ships on display, and these victory ships were ships that were built by the U.S. Navy
During World War II,
Yeah, during World War II, and they built them in an area not far out of San Francisco. It's very, very close to San Francisco is where they were building these things, and they could build these entire massive, and we're talking massive ships. They could turn those things in like 60 to 90 days from having no ship at all to turning them that quickly. And the idea was to build them faster than Hitler could sink them. So, I mean, if you're a history buff like I am, it's an amazing place to go see. I highly recommend going and checking out San Francisco.
They really had to ramp up the production of ships and stuff. They got really good at it because of like the U-boat attacks and stuff from the Japanese and
Hitler,
or the Germans. I mean,
Hitler's U-boats were sinking ships at an unbelievable rate, and to be able to build these ships, these things are not the size of our current aircraft carriers, obviously, but for 1940s, these things are huge, and to be able to build them from scratch that quickly is amazing.
Did you, going back to Alcatraz, I think you sent a picture of like the hole. Did they tell you what the procedure was for them in there? Have you heard? Do you know what I'm talking about?
If you want to go over that, go ahead.
Well, I'd always read that.
I remember the picture. There's not much room for much procedure.
Well, they would strip them naked, turn out all the lights, so they couldn't see or hear anything, and then they would not feed you for a pretty long period of time. So there were people that went into the hole and came out and just like they broke.
I didn't realize they were allowed to not feed you.
Well, I hadn't heard that part. And the inmate, the book from the inmate that I read, he talks about the hole and he talks about what they would do. And he said that there would be some that would be stripped if you had done something really stupid. They would strip them and throw them in there. He said, but in general, that they would just put them in the hole.
It's pitch black in there. What does the nudity add to it? It's not like you're in a glass cage.
I don't know. I mean, it's just another way to kind of
take away your dignity
and
check your dignity.
He
at
had
the
kind of
door.
talked about there were different degrees of getting tossed in the hole. That if you went in and you assaulted and beat up some sort of a guard or something like that would happen. But he had kind of, I don't want to say that he had, because he had not said that Alcatraz was a great place to go.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't.
I mean, he didn't go there, but he had said that, hey, look, a majority of the stories you hear from Alcatraz, as far as, a lot of abuse and everything else, he said,
I think a lot of it has to do with
it didn't really happen.
One of the reasons why it became so famous and such a big place, and not talking about the paranormal thing really, but just in general, is just its location.
Yes.
And how it's so secluded. And there's really no hope. If you go there, like, if you're planning on escaping anywhere,
yeah,
that's not the one you want to.
And he said that a lot of the myth too with Alcatraz was built by the prison system itself, because he said that one of the big things is nobody gets paroled from Alcatraz. He says, well, that's true and not true. That what would happen is when you were coming up for parole, what they would do if you'd been a model inmate, because the warden at Alcatraz was actually a big parole reform people type of guy. And he said if he thought that this person had been successful, what they would do is they would transfer them to another prison. And then 2 weeks later, magically they got their parole after they've been at this prison.
Interesting, yeah. So that claim is true, but also...
He said it's true, but what would happen would be that you would leave. They would parole them. They wouldn't parole them from Alcatraz.
Right. So they could keep their claim of...
Right. But what they would do is they would transfer them to another prison and maybe parole them within weeks of arriving at the other prison. So that's it's kind of an interesting, cool thing, and if...
Look, that's the place where you put, like, your Al Capones.
It is.
The guys you really don't want to lose
Your
track of.
Birdmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then the ones, the people that had supposedly escaped from Alcatraz, and there's an unsolved mystery that dives into this. The prison didn't really even dive into that, other than saying no one had ever proven that they had escaped from Alcatraz. But there were some people that had made their escape out of Alcatraz, and part of the reason why Alcatraz never really talked about this is because it was really bad incompetence on the part of the guards at the time, because they had a huge walkway that went over the entire prison. Well, the inmates convinced the guards. They said, you don't want us to get all this paint and dust and stuff in that huge walkway, do you? No, absolutely not. So they covered the walkway and kept it covered for months and months and months to prevent the dust from getting into the prison. Well, no, they weren't. They were digging their way out, and that's how that whole thing came in. And no one, they didn't want to announce, hey, we were kind of dumb and we let that happen. So that's part of the story with that. But the guys that supposedly either drowned or escaped, the two brothers that had done that, they'd made their way to the raft, and that there was an unauthorized ship that was in the harbor that night that they couldn't explain where the ship came from, but the ship came in and then the ship disappeared. Now, could that just be coincidence? It could be, but it could also have been a ship that picked those guys up too, so you don't know.
Wasn't there a movie? Didn't Clint Eastwood star in a movie? I think that also spiked interest. That's probably like in the 70s or 80s. I've never seen it. I've heard of it.
The facility itself is really, really in disrepair. It's a neat thing to go see and to go check out if you ever get a chance to go see it, but boy, I tell you what, that was rough. I did not realize they had no running water actually on the island itself. The way that the water gets on the island, they have or had at the time, they had a huge water tower that's on the island, and every so often they'd have to bring a ship in that was loaded with water to reload the water tower.
Wow.
So they had that, and then as far as power goes, they had to generate power on the island. It had to have its own generator. So it was isolated, but boy, I tell you what, you're going to have problems trying to run a facility there.
I remember something I never thought about, but I remember when I first, and this relates to Alcatraz, but when I first started watching Ghost Hunters, one of my favorite episodes, they did several of them, is when they would do the haunted lighthouses. I love those. There's something about the idea, and it happened to these guys a lot, of being, trapped in the lighthouse with paranormal activity happening on the stairs below you. There's nowhere to go. I never thought about the fact that Alcatraz actually did have a lighthouse.
Yeah, it did.
I'd love to get in there.
And they had one of the stories that they had of course the Civil War guys, but they also had a story from a lighthouse keeper. The lighthouse went out and they couldn't figure out what was going on, and they went up there and the guy was frozen, and he just talked about the large non-humans, and that's the way those things get described a lot.
I will tell you, because I've always loved the idea of a lighthouse too. There's something that's really like mysterious and creepy
It's
about
just
them.
so,
Even
yeah.
without ghosts, just being out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself.
Have you seen The Lighthouse?
I was going there, man. Like,
Willem
have you guys
Dafoe?
watched The Lighthouse?
No, I've seen clips of the movie. I know it looks fantastic.
You need to see it. I've seen that movie
really
5 or
good.
6 times. It's one of my favorite horror movies.
When I'm bored and I want some background on the TV, I go to the Ghost Hunters Classic, and I just keep going through until I see the light. They've done many lighthouses because Ghost Hunters are based in Rhode Island, so there's a shitload up there in New England. And the lighthouse episodes are always so good. The most memorable one that I can remember, Ghost Hunters isn't known for getting a lot of video. They don't really get a lot of compelling video, but their most compelling video ever was they were at the bottom of the lighthouse and they were shooting up. They could hear someone running up the stairs. You can hear it on the audio. And they have the camera pointed up there, and you see a head peek over from way the fuck up there. This is a spiral staircase that goes all the way up. And you can see a head peek over at one point. I just remember at that point I had TiVo. That was before everything was streaming. I just remember backing that up over and over. It's like,
I've seen that.
You can see a head. And then they immediately go towards it. They all go up the stairs, and there's nothing up there. There's no way you can cast a shadow up that high. I don't know. It was weird. But I have always had an interest in the paranormal aspect of these lighthouses.
Well, I remember reading a few different stories online. We keep talking about online back in when the internet was young and
in its heyday, before everything was AI and fucking fake.
Yeah, there was really cool stories posted about lighthouses, and there's a lot of truth to some of them, how some of them it's just you're so secluded.
Well,
and people lose their minds, and that's very common. That's more common than anybody realizes.
And for whatever reason, lighthouse keepers are one of those people that we've talked about on this podcast before that are super attached to their fucking jobs.
Oh yeah, no,
you need to watch The Lighthouse, Chris.
You need to see it. If you like that kind of thing, it's a really, really good movie.
Yeah, I know. I've been meaning to watch that one for a long time. It does look good.
This is Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
I love Willem Dafoe. That dude scares
Robert
the fuck
Pattinson's
out of
really
me.
good in that movie too.
God,
He's just a good
They're
actor.
both very good, but Willem Dafoe is something else.
One of the things that they had talked about with Alcatraz is that there's some sort of an ore deposit or something there that kind of jacks with a lot of instruments, or at least that's a theory that one of the Civil War guys had put out. I don't know if you've ever heard of anything like that.
I don't know. I mean, the best I could mention on that is a few episodes ago when we talked about, possibly there being a scientific connection between these minerals and, residual activity. Do they, actually interact electronically with devices and stuff? I have no idea. Ore is one that I'd never added to the list, but it would make sense. Limestone and quartz and all that.
And I've always, ever since I've ever heard that, I've always been like, but why?
Well, I don't know.
And everybody's like, oh, it just is.
Nobody ever has an actual, causal reason why. It's just like, well, that's just what happens.
It's just strange. That's what got picked out. Like, how did that start? Like,
I don't know.
Because even if you did notice paranormal activity and you're like, oh, we're on a bed of limestone. Well, yeah, but everybody's on a bed of something.
Well, but certain minerals do store things like radioactivity. There's still radioactivity stored in certain minerals, where in minerals, that are right next to it, they don't store that anymore. So why do some hold on to that shit better?
How that works? I thought radiation was just like, depending on how much is being radiated, that every element has a half-life, and eventually it's just going to stop radiating.
That is how that works. I think I'm talking more about the geological. I'm not even talking about the actual presence of stored radiation. I
didn't know the different.
I'm talking about the evidence of, I can't even think how to word it, the evidence of radiation in the past. Some minerals will show that more clearly than others. I was wondering, I was just sitting here thinking, I wonder if there were a lot of UFO sightings out there, but they wouldn't. There would be so much light pollution, even from nearby San Francisco, right? Yeah. I would think.
They've got an area that is probably 45 minutes from San Francisco, from downtown San Francisco, probably 45 minutes. You go across the Golden Gate Bridge, and you can be in an area that's called a mirror woods, and they've got some redwood trees that are there, and it is just out in the middle of nowhere.
It's funny when you think about that, because I know that like New York, you go 45 minutes to an hour away, you can be in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
In a forest. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it's bizarre. I would not have thought that San Francisco would be that way, but it was.
Anytime you talk about New York, like that, anytime you mention the state of New York, people immediately picture the concrete, jungle. But most of New York is not that.
No.
I mean, there's farms and all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Well, even California. I mean,
California's got tons of farms.
You look at you go out just outside of San Francisco, it's like the breadbasket of, no, excuse me, that's wrong. It's the, I can't think of what it's called. They produce like some of the largest percentage of fruits. Almost all of the almonds in the world are produced there. I mean, it's a tremendous agricultural area that's not far at all from San Francisco.
They have a nickname for that, kind of like the breadbasket.
Right. It's not the breadbasket, but I can't think of what it's.
Well, I mean, it's really got pristine, climate conditions for growing shit. Because even though you were there in July and it was 56 degrees, it's also 56 degrees in January.
Yeah. I mean, they can grow stuff year round. And again, this doesn't have anything to do with paranormal, but they talked about the waterway, that they're importing water down from a lake that's quite a long ways off. So I mean, just the agricultural victories that they've had in those areas are just phenomenal.
Speaking of haunted destinations, I got to talk about this fucking dude. Here's one thing I'm tired of. I'm tired of all the time seeing the motherfucking Annabelle is missing.
Wait, what?
That doll, that fucking doll, that Ed and Lorraine Warren doll.
We knew exactly what that was.
Didn't Matt Rife buy him?
Yeah, somebody bought the house.
It's that fucking comedian.
Somebody bought he bought the Conjuring house, and the stupid fucking doll is in the stupid fucking house.
Well, he does it. Yes, that's correct. It's Matt Rife, and he's a comedian. He's not. I'm going to piss off a lot of people saying this, but that's okay. I don't think he's funny at all.
All of the bits you see with Matt Rife.
I love comedians.
Matt Rife was a guy that he was kind of known for being the hottie comedian. A lot of women would go see him.
This guy?
I don't know him.
Well, he's a comedian,
and I watch a lot of stand up.
Well, but a lot of women would go see him.
Yeah,
and they would,
John's right. He has a big female following,
and
which
they
is
would
fine.
They would say that he's a hottie, and a lot of his social media.
Guy?
Yeah.
No, I know.
That's really not the best. Go ahead and look him up. That's not the best picture.
But the thing about Rife would be that he was really known for his interaction with the crowd. Because if you see him on stage, you almost never, at least I have never seen one of his true comedy bits.
Yeah.
It's always somebody yells something from the crowd and he has a quick response or a good response.
That's what it is. It's improv. He really does. Huh?
Yeah, he's a pretty good looking dude, but I don't know him. I've never heard of him.
I don't care. Whatever. My first point is I don't think he's funny. That's fine. Before I ever knew what the dude looked like, I heard him on a podcast one time. I was like, what the fuck is it? This isn't funny. So anyway, he bought him along with Elton Castee. Bought
Elton John.
No, Elton Castee bought. Elton Castee's actually been here at the Pythian Castle. They bought that Conjuring house. Which
Why?
has I don't know.
People just like to buy stuff
because he's always been interested in the paranormal. This isn't new to him, believe it or not. And I'm not here to just pick on Matt Rife.
Is there a
my
controversy?
picking on him ends in saying I don't think he's funny. But I just don't understand why this guy in particular is buying. But again, they're coming out with this Annabelle is missing shit.
I don't understand.
And it's not.
Why are people saying that?
I don't know. To start some shit online, I have no idea.
The Conjuring house used to be kind of a tourist destination.
The Conjuring house still is.
You could pay to go to get in it. Is it now that he owns it, and that's why people are saying it's missing?
Yeah, it's not missing. I don't know why the fuck people are saying that.
It's not missing. There's a picture of him standing right next to it.
So is the doll? Does he keep the doll at the Conjuring house, or does
it has to stay there? Yes. I mean,
why?
For whatever reason, in the purchase of this property, he doesn't own the doll.
Who owns the doll?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Can you kind of go over this doll and the history of this doll or anything?
That's something I actually looked into last night, and there's a lot going on there I didn't know about. Of course, I know the Conjuring movies they're dramatized. They're horror movies. They're just like Amityville. They made it into a fucking movie. But I didn't realize how much controversy surrounded that house.
What controversy?
A lot of questioning whether anything happened there at all.
So fakeness?
Yeah.
I've seen some of that.
You mean regarding that house?
Yeah, people saying that maybe probably nothing happened.
Well,
there.
I mean, look, they've written numerous books. How many Hollywood movies? They've made a fortune off of it. And anytime you make money off of stuff like this,
you're incentivized to keep it going.
And people are not going to believe you more often than not.
It's kind of like Amityville. Not kind of. It's very much like Amityville, where the accounts of the house are based off the experiences of a family that lived there in the 70s, the Perrin family.
Is it possible, before you get into this, I just want to plant this seed, that this is a situation kind of like the family that we dealt with in Willard, not to bring up our big thing we always bring up, but when they moved, whatever was there moved with them. So is it possible that maybe that family had something following them and it wasn't the house, but it was following the family?
Fuck, I don't know. I mean, it's entirely possible in our experience, but this really mirrors Amityville almost exactly, because the Warrens were involved in Amityville too, right? Am I thinking wrong?
No, I think so.
I don't know. My brain's not ticking.
I know
at the
that
moment.
at least in the movies, didn't they show up in the movies?
I think so.
Cast?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so.
But they definitely were involved in this Conjuring house, and a lot of people are saying now that family that lived there exaggerated, possibly made up the accounts of what happened there, and then they're also saying that the Warrens themselves made a lot of shit up too, which I don't know where you fall on that. You're familiar with Ed and Lorraine Warren?
I am familiar with them, but I'm not going to go to bat for them or anything. I don't know either.
Well, but this kind of comes back to the last podcast we just did, where we said that you have to fundamentally believe one way or the other, because so much of this could be fake.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Like, again, all these people make money from this. This is their livelihood. Like, if they have an Amityville or a Conjuring house pop up on their radar, that's like a gold mine.
It is.
That's one of the good things about us doing this and not charging anything at all.
I was getting ready to say,
why would we do this for 15 years and fake it?
Right, but at the same time,
for absolutely no gain.
But at the same time, I will come back in and play devil's advocate on this. Let's say that something happens and we end up making a big one day. That does not mean that all of the stuff that just because we make money at that point doesn't mean that we're necessarily telling a lie. Now, it gives you incentive to tell a lie that we don't have now.
But if we got a book deal or a movie deal or something surrounding our Willard experience, and then we started making shit up after the fact.
Well, right, making shit up, but like,
Well, that's
I mean,
what people are saying about these places is
I know,
that they're
but-
making shit up after the fact.
But what I'm saying is like nobody would know if we did or not. Like make shit up after the fact.
That's true of any of these.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't know where I fall on this. It's probably not even a good debate to have because it's one of those. It's one of those things. It's one of these normal debates where people are either fall into the side of the Warrens are completely fake. The other side is the Warrens are never fake, and then there's those of them in the middle who say I don't fucking know.
I don't know or care. I don't look into it a whole lot.
I mean,
honestly.
I'm confused why this is going to sound really shitty. I'm confused why they're even as popular as they are.
Well, they were really the first.
It's really just because of like the originality of it. Like that they were like one of the first.
If you
ones
can be
that
one of the
became-
first of anything in a field, generally speaking, you have a
Because I mean,
better chance of
they
owning
did
it.
things that I would never do.
Now, are
Like,
you talking
they're-
about things they actually did or shit you saw in that movie? Because
No,
the
no,
shit
no, no,
in the
no.
movie
Shit
is
they actually
not,
did. Parts of their investigation. Like it wasn't like all like science evidence based.
There was psychic
It was
stuff.
like weird. She was supposedly like very in tune
Right.
and could predict things, and like
Bullshit.
You see
that's
this,
where my mind goes.
well,
Like,
but you see
'cause
the same stuff on Paranormal Witness too. You see that they claim that there are
we've been
people.
told before that we are sensitive.
Well,
That's the most ridiculous thing in my
here's-
opinion.
A lot of people are basing the Warrens are fake on the Conjuring movie. Now, the shit in the Conjuring movie doesn't really mirror what they
Well, no,
did,
that-
but they did do what you're saying, which is a lot of that psychic. It's even
What the fuck? That was right behind me. Right over my left shoulder.
is it that
I see unit behind you, so maybe it's just.
it hasn't made it sound the whole time.
He
but-
hasn't done anything.
Who knows? I was going to ask you if you did listen to that Art Bell call with.
I've started it. It's 3 hours.
Because Ed and Lauren Warren go there.
And they go.
They're mentioned.
Now,
in,
which one are you said two?
The haunting one, like the one with the old woman that calls in.
Right.
Can you guys talk about the doll? What is the
Annabelle?
yeah, I've seen this
Fuck,
doll
I don't know.
with
It's
all
supposed to
kinds
be
of stuff.
inhabited by a demon.
I think the whole thing is the doll is what the evil thing is attached to. And in the movies, the doll looks really creepy, but in real life, it's just like one of those.
It's a Raggedy Ann doll, isn't it?
Right? Yeah. But you can't do a horror movie about that. You got to make it scarier. See, this goes into like the movie thing. People saying that like, oh yeah, but you know, like
I don't like the
These
movies.
filmmakers making everything where everything's got to be like shock horror and jump
Yeah,
scary.
I mean, somebody
and-
wrote that. Somebody wrote those.
You could make a creepy movie without the creepy tropes, though.
Oh yeah, you sure can.
You've seen The Witch, right?
Yes, I
See,
love
that's-
That shit's creepy,
Yeah.
and there's no scary
No,
like.
there's no jump
spooky-
scares, no cheap, nothing cheap. Like that's what I like to call like atmospheric horror.
Yeah,
And those are the best ones.
It was
like
kind
The
of
Lighthouse.
It was
is
kind of a
atmospheric.
period. It was kind of a period piece.
Oh, it is that too. Very much.
I
yeah.
love that movie.
I was
I love The Witch.
surprised.
Me too.
It's one of my favorites.
I was surprised that it's low Rotten Tomatoes score.
Well, that's because there's not like constant action and
Yeah, they want Optimus Prime to show up and cut the head off a T-Rex. Like
well,
it's a very slow, methodical.
I would kind of like to see that.
and you do have to think a little bit.
Yeah.
and that turns a lot of people off.
Yeah,
too.
I did like it a lot. I watch it really every October
It's
since
the
you
best.
mentioned it.
It's the best horror movie, in my opinion, in the world.
Speaking of horror movie, we're going off on all kinds of different things here, but I watch a bunch of them, and my daughter likes to watch them, but she'll only watch them during like Halloween season.
Seen Weapons?
I want to see Weapons.
Dude, I
so
wanna see
fucking
Weapons.
bad. I
Have you
didn't
seen the
realize
trailer for
What is that?
I did not realize the Weapons was going to be a theatrical release because all the ads I've seen for it were when I was streaming shit. I thought it was going to be released on like Hulu or Paramount.
we should
Plus.
all go see The Weapons.
Yeah, we
is
really
it?
should.
it's a movie. It's a horror movie that's coming out.
It's like it's got a paranormal aspect to it. There's
It's a very strange
it's about
concept.
Kids. It's kind of like a Children of the Corn type thing, I think.
You should watch the trailer. The Red Letter Media guys were excited about it.
But yeah, the movie Weapons, it looks really good. Now, I'm always hesitant to talk about horror movies because I like to watch them. And this is what I told my daughter, who's only 15, because she's like, we're scared to watch these. I was like, the horror movies aren't really scary. I was like, the fun in watching a horror movie is making fun of it.
Most of the time.
As it goes.
But like the first time
and
I
the
was
ones that
sitting
are
and
over the
watching
top.
The Witch, I was at the edge of my seat. Like,
I did not. Yeah, that kind you don't really make fun of, but the kind that suck, you can still enjoy them and make fun of them. I thought that the movies. Now, you guys may fall in a different category than I did, but I thought the movie Smile was going to be one that I made a lot of fun of. It turned out I fucking liked it.
Oh God! That's the one.
That's the
Tyler
one.
and I were laughing about this one because the trailers are so stupid.
They're terrible.
They are so
The
stupid.
trailers make the movie look like it'd be dog shit.
I don't know that I've ever even seen the trailer. I remember when they did their promotional push. They had the people doing the goofy smile at baseball games and shit, and that was cool. That was.
I didn't know about that.
Oh no, they did that. They had
That's
this big,
funny.
like on the Today Show. You know, where on the Today Show they're out in the plaza and you see all the people. They would have people just planted, making that goofy ass smile and no blinking and just staring at. So that was their promotional push before this movie was announced. So that kind of stuff, I like that kind of promotional marketing. But I've never seen an actual trailer. But the Smile movie, I thought I heard something there. You might mark that. The Smile movie.
It's the lady from Ozark.
Huh?
Yeah, no one's gonna know what you're talking about. So the
actress in
looking
Weapons.
I showed him a brief description of Weapons because he hadn't heard about it. And it has the picture.
Who's
of
the
one of actors.
lady from Ozark? What's that?
Curly-haired blonde lady.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
You didn't watch Ozark?
Oh, the lady from. I thought you meant from the town of Ozark.
No.
I did.
Curly-haired blonde lady. from
It's
Ozark.
funny you mention that. It's funny you mention that because you're going to be surprised when I say this. I fucking hated Ozark.
Really?
I didn't like the last season. This most recent.
I didn't like it
the
from
third
beginning
one.
to end.
I like the beginning, but
I love Jason Bateman.
You can like it if you suspend your reality of knowing what the
That is-
Ozarks
Well,
looks like.
that's what I was going to say. That
'Cause
is
we fucking
not,
live in the Ozarks.
Well, it looks Ozarky, but it does not look
there is
like
not
Lake of the
nearly enough meth.
It does not look like Lake of the Ozarks at all. There's nowhere in, and trust me, I've been there a million times. There's nowhere in Lake of the Ozarks we're that close to the water.
Well, it was
There's
filmed in,
trailers that look like that.
It was filmed in Dakota.
It was filmed in Georgia.
Georgia?
Georgia.
Yeah. And I'll admit, I've been through Georgia many times. It looks just like you're driving through fucking Branson. It really does. It looks exactly the same. So it was a good pick on that. Why didn't they just film it in Lake of the Ozarks? I mean, the houses in Lake of the Ozarks
it's-
by the water are fucking
I'll tell you why they
mansions.
didn't
It's
do that
cheaper
because
to film in Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia has got a big,
Tax
huge.
breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. But then I also remember, I think Georgia released all that shit at one point. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I didn't like Ozark. I love Jason Bateman. I don't think he was the right
Is
dude.
any of that?
He wasn't.
Is any of that reason that you didn't like it because you were constantly subconsciously comparing it to Breaking Bad?
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Because you can't do that.
Maybe so. However, this has nothing to do with the paranormal, but fuck it, we're going. I also loved Landman.
I loved Landman.
And I compare it to Breaking Bad in the same way, and it's not even got the. I guess it does have cartel angle and all that shit, but whatever.
Kind of.
It's very different than Breaking Bad, but I still compare the two, and I probably did compare Ozark to Breaking Bad, and I was looking for Jason Bateman to be the Heisenberg type.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Billy Bob Thornton was the right guy for that role.
Billy Bob
too.
Thornton was fucking perfect.
He was the. There's nobody else
There's
that could have better
no
done
one
that role.
else who could have done that.
No.
It's fucking awesome. But yeah. Anyway, I was talking about the movie Smile. I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought I was going to make fun of it. Did you actually see the movie or just the trailer?
No, I've not seen the movie.
You should watch the movie because it's fucking good. The whole concept is really, I like it. It took me a while to figure out what the fuck was happening. But once you do, it's like, oh, motherfucker, these people are living in it would be better to kill yourself than to live this way. I'm not kidding. And this is what a lot of people, claim that they're going through with this paranormal. And that's what this is. It's a demon. That jumps from person to person. You'd have to watch to learn how it does that. And then it actually shows the motherfucker. Has anybody here not seen it? It shows the Smile demon, and it's
I have not
scary
seen
as
it.
fuck because he's like 12 feet tall.
Is it better than Grimm?
Would it spoil it if I looked it up right now?
Spoil what? What
movie?
If you look what up?
What the demon looks like?
Oh no, you can look at now. In Scream 2, the demon is even fucking scarier. But if you're just looking at you can look it up. And
Does
there
he
may
have
be
long
people
arms?
out there. Yes, he does. And it may just be because he has all the ingredients that I find scary.
Does he look like the lead singer of Midnight Oil?
No, I remember that. Oh yeah, that's a long story there. Might as well tell it at this point. We used to swim in John's pool at night when we were kids. You know,
Yeah,
13.
I've done that. I've swum in that same pool before at night, and it's creepy as hell.
Now, when
out
I
there.
say at night, I'm talking 1, 2 in the morning, and we would. I guess we just freaked ourselves out.
Yeah, what we always thought was going to happen.
we would just
dark.
It's so
dark there. There is nothing. There's no light pollution at all.
Well, it sounds dramatic to say, but really the only light you have comes from the moon and the fucking Milky Way, which is streaming overhead, bright as fuck. Because there's no light out there. But we would start talking about, there was an old smokehouse that's set next to the swimming pool.
And we used to always imagine something peering out of the smokehouse door
And
at
then,
us.
then we would start looking over there. You know what you do? You're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? You know, it's probably a cow tail swishing or something. Who the fuck knows? But we would convince ourselves we saw something, and then whenever we finally were convinced that this, I don't know what the Midnight Oil. Midnight Oil is an alternative band from the '80s that had a few songs. But their lead singer was like this bald dude. He's all scrawny with long arms, and we would always. And we would always compare this fictitious demon to the lead singer of Midnight Oil, you know, with the long arms and the bald head.
Who would make a great demon.
And the bulging eyes. Anyway, we would knock that fucking pool dry.
Yeah.
Getting out of there to get back in the house because we didn't want to get grabbed by Midnight Oil guy.
The demon was after us. It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Anyway, hey, before we go, I did want to do, I know we're probably running long here, and it's bounced all over the place. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago? I guess it was 2 weeks ago. We did a podcast about, it was last week. We did a podcast about if a G-Man came in, what is the one piece of evidence you would present him that paranormal activity is real, based upon what we've collected only. And we went through and played some of those. One of the ones we played was from a house here in Springfield, a voice we caught on a video.
It was this really super creepy sound that Chris.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and just
played.
Let me play the original one right here. Here it is. That's the original. It was caught on a video.
The one we said was mechanical sounding, right?
Right, but I thought that it sounded kind of like being played backwards, so I went in, played it backwards.
Oh, okay. This is the one you did. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one he played backwards. And it still sounds creepy as fuck. It sounds a little more like human language, but I still can't tell what the fuck it says. But it does sound extra creepy backwards, and that's the main reason I wanted to play it. So here's the backwards version. So there's the backwards, and then there's one more that's not only backwards, but it's slowed down by 20%. Can't tell what it says still. I just like that it sounds creepy and cool.
It does. Undeniably.
We're
creepy
not
and cool.
typically backmaskers.
No, I don't
usually.
think we've ever done that.
But that one played forward just sounded like something, you know how you can tell when something's played backwards. It just had that cadence of something that had been
it
reversed.
sounded like a song that somebody, remember that whole thing where people were reversing songs?
Oh, that's backmasking,
hidden messages. And
that was big in the 70s.
Well, actually, even the 60s, because they believed that there was a thing going on for a while that the Beatles had buried Paul McCartney and that he'd been replaced by a body double because somebody found in one of the songs, they played it backwards, and it was supposedly John Lennon saying, "I buried Paul."
And if you play the yes, he did.
I'm dead serious.
However, if you play, and I'm not joking here, I could probably Google it and find it. I'm not going to, but you can, if you're listening to the podcast on your own. I remember this one well. One of the most famous backmasked songs. Well, yeah, so obviously, Pink Floyd's one. But here's a weird one. If you play, and it does, I swear, it does sound like it says this. There's no way it was fucking intended. But if you play backwards the intro music to, what is that show that was on with the fucking horse that talked? Mr. Ed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mr.
Just say
Ed.
BoJack Horseman.
No, not longer ago than BoJack. This is Mr. Ed, which was a fucking sitcom from, I don't know, the 50s or 60s. I've never seen it, but it was about a horse that talked.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ed.
Yeah, so if you play backwards the intro to the Mr. Ed show, it sounds exactly like it says someone sang this song for Satan. And people were convinced that that's what it said. Long after the fact, long after Mr. Ed was off the air, people were trying to cancel Mr. Ed.
Some of that stuff can be done intentionally, though, and there's one that's pretty famous now. Is
ELO did one intentionally.
Yeah,
oh,
they
you
did.
mean planted there like that
Well,
on purpose?
so-
Oh fuck yeah! Black Sabbath did it.
Sabbath's done it, and there was one that with the release of the new Doom game, the composer of all the music in that game, it was going to be a controversial release anyway because it deals with killing demons via machine guns and whatnot. So there's a specific portion of America that weren't very happy with that.
That's awesome.
So he went in, and with his music, it's all hard hitting, industrial metal type stuff. He used a spectrogram, which is an instrument. It's an instrument in music production that you can see where the frequencies are. And it puts it out in a visual image. The sounds are happening on the frequency spectrum. And he went in and implanted an image of 666 next to it, a pentagram, and following it 666.
Well,
He was just fucking with people.
I was going to say
He was fucking with them before they ever put it through a spectrogram, and then when they did, they lost their shit.
I'm going to make an admission here that I think you guys knew, but I've never publicly made. A long time ago, we were being taunted by way of email from this fucking lunatic who was convinced that we were part of the Illuminati.
I didn't know any. When?
Yes.
I could have had a lot of fun with that.
I did. I implanted.
Why didn't you tell me?
I did.
I don't remember
I told
this.
all you motherfuckers.
I don't remember
This was
being-
This was probably 10
I
years
don't
ago.
remember being trolled by someone.
Yeah,
saying
I
we're-
sent pictures of all his messages. All of this was known. So I went into our website, and on every fucking page, I mean, I know the Adobe Suite pretty fucking well. I took all of our not pictures we took of investigations, but our graphics and our logos and all that stuff. I took all those and I embedded Illuminati images. Don't you remember me sending pictures of all this?
No.
With the the Eye of Horus or
Now
whatever.
I think I do because I was wondering why you were doing that.
Yes, yeah. There was, I do now. that you mention it.
I did it Disney style. Just we're in the smoke, there was you'd have to look close, but there was
there was the eye.
Disney style. Yeah.
So I put this shit all from beginning to end in our website just to fuck with this one dude who was convinced that
I will say that
he was not only convinced we were part of the Illuminati, we were part of the satanic branch.
Oh, it's the best branch.
Well,
we have our own extension number. It's different from the other
Yes.
guys. It's different from the guys controlling the governments. It's,
we're in the
There's
basement.
the lizards. There's the satanic branch.
What were you going to say?
there is evidence of like subliminal messaging and the effect it has on people. It's real. Subliminal messaging is 100%
I
real.
did this as a result
I know.
of this guy being an
I know.
ass.
I'm just saying. I'm kind of going back to like playing music backwards and stuff.
If you go digging around on our website now, you're not going to find any because
It's
I've
not
taken all
something
that
that you subconsciously pick or you consciously pick up on. You can't listen to a song. And
Oh,
be
sure.
like,
Yeah, of course.
Backwards.
Well,
Oh.
in advertising,
But supposedly that has an effect, like on advertising
Yeah,
and stuff.
tons
Which
of
makes you wonder why Disney snuck a picture of a dick on the cover of Little Mermaid.
that does make you wonder that.
That's
the
raise an eye.
dude, that was
All-
just some
John has no idea what I'm
That
talking
was just some
about.
visual effects artist seeing if he could get away with it.
Yeah, that was some motherfucker doing just what I did.
Yeah,
He was sitting behind a mouse going,
I actually have heard that story. What happened was that they'd hired an independent freelancer
Yes,
to
that
do
is what
this,
happened.
and
Mistake number one.
they really did not know until it was like out.
Oh wait, so they hired someone to insert.
No. They hired a freelance designer, and then this freelance designer realized later that he was being paid so much less than all the other freelance designers
To design
that he put
That's-
a gold dildo in it.
Well, but
But that's not the only thing. Like, there's also a scene of The Lion King where the stars
Sex.
like spell out sex.
Yeah, that's they have different motives. That's just people putting stuff in.
I mean, I'm a
because they
simple
can.
guy. I see a car window covered in dust. I draw a dick on it.
Yeah,
You do that.
does he really do that? Oh, okay. I don't have any of that shit in there anymore, but that just kind of relates to the backmasking a little. Yeah, people were just they did that a lot. Next week we're going to. I've got some emails. I got a couple emails I want to hit, and we'll talk about those when we come back next week.
more dark matter next week from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri, with Midwest Ghost Hunters.